A jacket appears on your screen. You didn't ask for it. 6 seconds ago, you didn't know it existed. 9 seconds later, you've bought it. In 2 days, it'll be made, boxed, and sitting on your doorstep. And if someone asked you why you bought it, you wouldn't have a real answer. 9 seconds is not a decision. It's barely enough time to read this sentence out loud. So what actually happened in those 9 seconds? Here's the promise. By the end of this video, you'll be able to see this exact sequence happening, every single time it happens to you. Not because you'll suddenly have more willpower. Because you'll finally be able to see the machine that's built to make sure you never notice it running. Check your bank account right now. It's lower than you expected. But you can't point to one big thing that did it. It wasn't one huge purchase, it was small cuts. A $12 top, a $6 dupe skincare product, a subscription you forgot you signed up for. None of it, on its own, felt like a mistake. That's exactly the point. Add them up over a month and they stop looking small. That's the trick hiding in plain sight. Nothing about this system asks you to make one big, scary decision. It only ever asks for a small one. Over and over and over again. Here's the part that should bother you. This isn't just you being bad with money. In 2026, close to half of Gen Z say they use buy now, pay later, just to afford basics. Not vacations, groceries, gas. More than half of Gen Z shoppers used the split payment app last year. And more than half of those people admit they've lost track of what they actually owe. Think about what that really means. A huge chunk of an entire generation is in active debt to companies whose names they'd have to check their phone to remember. And it's not just clothes and snacks anymore. Last year, 6 out of 10 Coachella ticket buyers paid in installments. That's not a loan for a house. Not a car. A loan, for a weekend. 3 days of music, financed like a mortgage. So how did we get here? The easy answer is that people got lazier, or dumber, or worse with money than their parents were. That answer is wrong. And it's also convenient, because it puts all the blame on you and none of it on the thing that was actually built. Something was built, on purpose, by people who are very good at their jobs. Let's go find out what it replaced. Old school shopping had something built in that we don't think about anymore: friction. A pause. You walked to a store, counted cash, watched your wallet get thinner in real time. That pause gave your brain one free second to ask, do I actually want this? This didn't happen overnight. Go back to the Great Depression and you'll find layaway. You paid a little at a time, and a store held the item until you'd paid it off in full. The friction was the whole design. You physically could not take something home until the money was real. Then came the credit card in the 1950s, and something shifted for the first time. You could take the item home before the money was fully yours. The gap between wanting and owning started to shrink. Then, one invention at a time, the rest of the pause got deleted. Online checkout removed the walk. Saved cards removed the typing. Face ID removed even the tap. Each upgrade got sold to you as convenience, and it is convenient, that part's genuinely true. But convenience and losing your self-control turned out to be the same coin. Just photographed from 2 different angles. Here's the uncomfortable math. In 1995, buying something involved dozens of tiny frictions stacked on top of each other: driving, parking, walking, waiting in line, physically handing over cash, waiting for change. Today, that entire stack has been reduced to one motion: a thumb, resting exactly where it already was. Every single friction point was treated, individually, as a problem, to be solved. And they were, all of them. That's not an accident of technology getting better. That was the goal. So if the pause is gone, what filled the gap it left behind? Let's build the answer, piece by piece. Economists call this the velocity of capital, how fast money moves before it lands somewhere and stops. The entire modern shopping machine has one job: make that speed as fast as physically possible. It runs in 3 stages, and each one was engineered separately, by different teams, who may have never even met each other. Stage 1. The feed makes you want it. You open the app. You're not looking for anything, you're just bored. But the app has been watching what you pause on, what you like, how long you stare before scrolling past. It's not guessing. It's been trained on billions of other people's boredom, and it knows, statistically, what a person exactly like you tends to stop scrolling for. This isn't small. TikTok Shop alone is on track to sell over $100 billion worth of stuff this year, almost double last year. And almost 60% of that comes from videos people weren't even searching for. You didn't go looking for a jacket. The jacket came looking for you, and it found you faster than a search engine ever could. because it wasn't waiting for you to ask. Here's the uncomfortable part. Your brain doesn't get a dopamine hit when you get a reward, it gets the hit right before, in the anticipation. And the hit is bigger when you don't know if the reward's coming. That's exactly how a slot machine works. Casinos figured this out decades ago and built entire buildings around it. This feed runs on the same underlying principle. Psychologists call it a variable ratio reward schedule, and it's the single most addictive pattern of reinforcement known to behavioral science. It's the same mechanism that makes you check a slot machine one more time, a notification one more time, a feed one more scroll. This feed is a slot machine. On average, it takes about 4 minutes from seeing a product like this to buying it. Less time than it takes to boil an egg. 4 minutes ago you didn't know the jacket existed. Now it's already shipping. Stage 2. The factory is already listening. Here's the part almost nobody sees. The moment enough people engage with a trend, that data doesn't go to a designer who thinks about it for weeks. It goes straight to a machine that starts producing, almost instantly. A company like Shine doesn't plan a season and hope it sells. It releases somewhere between 2,000 and 5,000 new products every single day. Each one gets test-made in a batch of about 100 units. Only the ones people actually buy get made in bulk. And Shine isn't alone. Temu runs the same playbook at an even bigger scale, over 100,000 factories, all plugged into one system, all competing for your next $15. Stage 3. The payment disappears. This stage happens in your thumb. One-click checkout, saved card, Face ID, and if the price feels too big, buy now, pay later, quietly splits $40 into 4 payments of $10. Your brain doesn't register, I'm spending $40. It registers, I'm spending $10. And this is where it gets serious. Nearly half of everyone using split payment apps has paid a bill late in the past year, the highest rate ever recorded, growing for 3 years straight. Those late payments are now starting to hit real credit reports. You're not the customer in this story. You're the fuel. You're not one unlucky person with bad habits. You're the average. Let's zoom out and look at the scale of this, because honestly, the numbers are hard to believe the first time you see them. Gen Z now carries more debt on average than millennials did at the same age. Meanwhile, the platforms pulling that money out of pockets are growing faster than almost anything in retail history. TikTok Shop's US sales more than doubled in a single year. 63% of Gen Z say they'd rather find and buy something inside a social app than ever visit a website. The scroll used to be one place. The store used to be another. Now they're the same 6 inches of glass in your hand, which means the line between entertaining yourself and spending money has basically disappeared. And here's the part that should really unsettle you. It's not that Gen Z doesn't care about money. Most say they're actively trying to be responsible. Many genuinely believe these split payment plans are helping them budget better than a credit card would. And the debt keeps climbing anyway. That's not a contradiction. That's the trap working exactly as it was designed to. So here's the real question. If a machine this precise, this well-tested, is pulling money out of an entire generation's pockets, who is actually collecting it on the other end? Follow the money, and this stops being a story about clothes. Every purchase is a data point. Every data point makes the app better at predicting the next one. Every fast delivery builds a habit that makes you order again without thinking twice. Every split payment earns the company a fee, an interest charge, or a loyal customer who now has a reason to come back and pay on time. You're not just buying a jacket. You're training the exact machine that will sell the next jacket, to the next version of you. And the people running this system know exactly what they built. Just 5 companies now control most of the entire pay later market in the US, a handful of firms, sitting between you and almost every impulse purchase you'll ever make. Removing the pause from spending is one of the most profitable business models in modern history. Get people into something they didn't fully mean to agree to, then make leaving harder than joining, is so common now that regulators had to step in. Last year, the US government fined Amazon $2.5 billion for exactly this. Signing up for their paid membership took 1 click. Canceling it took 4 pages, 6 clicks, and 15 separate screens. Internally, the company had a nickname for that cancellation maze, the Iliad Flow, named after one of the longest stories ever written. 1 click to trap you. An entire epic poem's worth of clicking to escape. Every single design choice, the 1-click button, the 4-second checkout, the 2-day delivery, exists because it was tested against 1,000 other versions, and this one made the most money. And here's the most uncomfortable truth in this entire video. Getting angry about it won't fix it. You cannot out-discipline a system built by trained scientists, funded with billions of dollars, running every second of every day, constantly testing new ways to shrink that 4-minute gap even smaller. Willpower is a finite resource that runs out by the end of a long day. So if outrage doesn't work, and willpower doesn't work, what actually does? This system isn't going to slow down. It was never designed to. A trend can go from a phone screen to a factory to your bank account in about 48 hours, and honestly, that number is only getting smaller every year. But you get to decide how fast you move through it. If this pulled back the curtain for you, subscribe, because next time, we're breaking down the app doing the exact same thing to your attention span instead of your wallet.